Bobyanga mulabye akirewo ne mulaba kubanga mbadde bakyalidde mu representative yange mu capacity yange nga munnamateeka waabwe. So sifunyeemu buzibu bwonna. Naye obeera omugenyi wa bulijjo bw'oba ogenda okulaba omuntu ng'ali mu upper prison naye nga tozze ku Monday oba Olwokusatu oba Olwokutaano, omuntu oba tojja kumulaba. Ate ennaku ezo ze zimu ze bakyalyako n'abasiba ekigo ku Monday, Olwokusatu n'Olwokutaano. Mu bantu bano aba bulijjo ne luzira olina kujja ku Lwokubiri, ku Lwokusatu n'Olwokuna. So
Yes, Honorable Ssemuju.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker. A while ago, Honorable Pachuto advised that we need to subject ourselves to periodical checks following the sudden death of our colleague. But there are also constitutional requirements. To be a president, the Constitution says you must be mentally and physically fit. In America, the President Joe Biden was actually asked not to participate in elections on account of his age, 79. When you have an 80-year-old president who keeps making erratic decisions, Mr. Speaker, I want to implore this parliament that we subject our president to, now that he's 80, to periodical mental and physical test, because that's a requirement of the Constitution. You can see her, but the Constitution says so. As a
Order, Dr. Roki.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I have listened to my senior colleague, Honorable Ssemuju, who happens to be the MP in an area where I live. He is trying to insinuate that an elderly person at 80 years cannot steer this country, cannot reason. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, if America is saying people at 80 should be subjected to other medical tests, but our president has not shown any sign of failing. He has not shown any sign of failing to discharge his duties. So, is Honorable Ssemuju in order to insinuate that our president, who is experienced to lead this country, is he in order to insinuate that our president cannot lead this country? Thank you.
You know, colleagues, I told you some time back that issues of Honorable Ssemuju and His Excellency M7 are like issues of generals. They usually sort themselves. Yeah? But Honorable Ssemuju has referred to the Constitution. The Constitution, I don't know whether it goes to give the parameters of requiring you to subject someone to test and all that. I don't know whether he's proposing we amend the law, we subject them to the test, But the man is doing very well.
Mr. Speaker, I am saying this in good faith because the makers of this Constitution had actually put an article that at 75 you can't be a president. I was not in the CA. And the president himself, you know, before he came here, I was a journalist. When we interviewed him, he said at 75 you are tired. Someone who doesn't even remember that there is no governor for the central bank. We need, and I'm just doing this in good faith, even for his health.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Ibrahim Ssemuju, for yielding the floor. From a medical standpoint, we have two types of aging. There is what we call chronological aging, which is a measure of a number of years, and what we call physiological aging, whereby you have seen people who are 60, but they are finished. So they are chronologically young, but biologically aged. And I want to speak as a medical professional that President Yoweri Museveni may have chronologically clocked 80 years, but he is biologically young. And yes, and the spirit and letter of the Constitution is that it is the voters, if he presents himself or any other aged person, it is up to the voters to assess whether you are energetic to lead them or not. Indeed, I know the Honorable Ssemuju is a Muslim, but I just want to quote from the Christian Bible. If you read in the book of Job, chapter 12, verse 12, it says, wisdom belongs to the aged and understanding to the old. That's what the Bible says. So there is no problem with the age of President Yoweri Museveni. In any case, physiologically is very sound and able to lead. And indeed, there are many leaders who are above 80 in many countries. We can give you many examples. So, don't be worried. Do not be worried. If he offers himself, it is up to the voters. That's what the Constitution of Uganda says.
So, Honorable Ssemuju, conclude. I want us to conclude.
I want to thank the Minister for information. He actually only confirms that we need to do a test. That was his submission, to establish whether chronologically or... So we need to do a test. But Mr. Speaker, I am saying this, I want to repeat in good faith. You know, when presidents age, you saw what happened to Zimbabwe. Even family members begin taking national decisions. You saw Grace Mugabe.
Procedure.
These days you have seen the president, his son.
Ssemuju, procedure.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I'm raising under Rule 79. A member has been advised
Conclude by the Speaker.
and even a quotation has been read to him from the Holy Book. But he has continuously engaged us and derailed us in repetitions. Okay? Which are actually not adding any value, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues. Through you, Right Honourable Speaker, under this rule, I would like to move that the member no longer be heard. Thank you.
Honorable colleagues, we run this house on flexibility, okay? But let us not also overstretch that flexibility. Honorable, conclude. You are concluded. Conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have never seen young people who want to be read by old people. And they take pride in it.
But now, whenever I told you to conclude, you're opening doors.
Therefore, Mr. Speaker, since you are one of those who are approached to contribute cows and banana, I know you have more access than any member of this parliament. Kindly, on our behalf, make an amendment to do a simple thing. Just test if the president is mentally and physically okay.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, I think when this parliament sat down and resolved, whether you agreed with the resolution or not, but you resolved that you don't want to limit the age of anyone leading this country. You knew even people of 100 years will present themselves as president. You know, we are the ones who resolved it, so we can't run away from it. Yeah, so President Museveni, we are the ones who allowed him. Let Ugandans either accept or reject him. We leave it. I think the best test for him to know whether he's very okay will be done by Ugandans. Parliament, we don't have any power to do a test on an individual. Yes, Honorable Macho.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank God. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank God for your wonderful and very wonderful communication today, which includes the birth of President Yoweri Museveni, the birthday of President Yoweri Museveni. Mr. Speaker, together with the people of Busia, we join the rest of the country. And two, I want to appreciate all the statements that were made on that day. Although my friend Honorable Krumira is not agreeing that it is very worthy to celebrate the life of a president, moreover a honest president. We have President Arap Moi who died without us knowing his age. But this is a president who declared that he's 80 years. And Mr. Speaker, at the same time, in Busia culture, and we have a proverb saying that if you steal in the basket of an old man is a curse. When Honorable Churumira was complaining, I remembered the words of our president when he said that at the age of 75, these people of Nupu Solo, he's 1 million votes. I don't know what really Hudelopu is thinking. Because if you steal from an old man of 75 years, you cannot wish him a good birthday. But as a country, we must agree that President Museveni is a gift to this country because of the stability and the peace he has brought in this country. And I think, and the development majorly, with what I've witnessed in Busia municipality, I believe he is still strong enough because we have seen younger people, although they have grown in the cities, in the ghettos, doing more mistakes than the elder. Thank you, Mr.
Honorable Rabshija.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Mine is a matter of national importance.
Okay, Honorable Rwanda.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I would advise all the younger and middle-aged MPs to learn from President Museveni. How can you live up to 80 years and you are still fit? I think he's a role model for us to learn from. Right Honorable Speaker, I was very disturbed when we lost our two generals because I know what it means for the nation to train a soldier to reach up the rank of a general. A lot of resources are spent on this person, but the knowledge and expertise that guarantee our security is very key. So it is very disturbing that we lost our two generals through road accidents. The first right is to find out the circumstances that led to the deaths of these two generals. How could these two generals die
in one day. At different times, they were in different cars. So what could be really the reason? How can we get explanation from UPDF, the Minister of Defense? The Minister of Defense must come here with an explanation about the cause of general deaths. Generals, we value our. Right Honorable, I stand as the chairperson, Parliamentary Forum on Road and Water Safety. We are losing a lot of lives in these countries out of reckless accidents. And one of when we go to the researchers, they show that 95% of these accidents are a human error. But unfortunately, Ugandans, through all these different spiritual beliefs, they have come to believe that actually it is God's plan for somebody to die on the road. This is very unfortunate, because in other nations where roads, the traffic laws work, we experience very minimal loss of lives. But here in Uganda, everybody has come to be accustomed that actually it is the act of God that is robbing our people on the roads. Right Honorable Speaker, my prayer. As I sit down, Right Honorable Speaker, it is good you visited us in Fort Portal. The Fort Portal Kampala Road, this is a national road. It is in a total mess. It has dilapidated, and a journey that would take only 4 hours. Now we take 7.5 hours. And this is the road where this Minister of State for Works passes to go to his constituency, where the Prime Minister passes to go to the constituency, where the Minister of Finance passes to go to constituency. I'm really wondering, really, when you sit in the cabinet, what happens on this national economic road that now is going to cause more deaths for our people? I beg to move my...
Honourable Minister, maybe you will touch on that. I know there's a contract on that road, but it's a going concern. Francis Mwijuche, Shadow Minister for Works, had brought an issue related to that earlier on. So let me allow him to raise it, then the Minister can respond at once.
Thank you so much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, there are very many accidents on the roads, although we are talking about the two generals, but it's important to point out that the accidents on these roads have increased. On very many roads, Masaka Road, Jinja Road, Toro Road, Busia, Entebbe Road, there's a spot on Entebbe Road, I think around Nkumba, that has claimed very many people. That very spot at the university stage. We have seen buses of students, even in here. Last year, in July, I think it was the 13th of July, this matter came in this very house. And the Speaker then convened a meeting of Minister of Works, UNRA, the ROP, I think there was Minister of Internal Affairs, and Right Honourable Speaker, I have answered here. After that meeting, very many interventions in the immediate, medium, and long term were reached at, agreed on. Right Honourable Speaker, some of these interventions were to do with initiating pop-up messages by the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, replacing the missing road infrastructure, towing abandoned vehicles, immediate removal of road side markets, compliance with the right of way and use of lead cars, increasing the recurrent budget allocation of UNRA, responsible use of road vehicles and government vehicles, compliance with the speed limit, and also enhancement of budget provisions, dealing with blind and black spots. Many interventions were reached at. The last one was that they agreed to have a monthly meeting to evaluate what they agreed on immediate intervention. Right, Honourable Speaker, most of these interventions have not been effected. And now we are talking about increased road accidents. Right, Honourable Speaker, I would want to know why all these interventions were not effected, and now we are talking about a year later, because that was 13th of July. This is September 2024, and nothing has happened. Because maybe if we had effected this, we wouldn't be talking about increased road accidents. Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister. Honourable colleagues, we are coming to 3 p.m. and we are still on my communication. Before even matters of national importance, we have an order paper to manage. Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I want to begin with the issue of Entebbe. We are aware of it, and we have a report we are finalizing. But what I must say, the issue was coming from the traffic lights were near one another, and that could confuse the drivers. But I request next week if I can bring the detailed report, because we have got many accidents on that stretch.